Hello, everybody, and welcome to Roadwarden. Big thanks to the team at Assembly Publishing for sponsoring the look at the game today. You can use the exclamation point RW command in chat if you're joining us live here on Twitch, or if you're viewing on YouTube. Link is down in the description below. It's a text-based fantasy RPG. I haven't played a ton of these on the channel, but it's certainly something I can get into every now and then. It's been very, very well received so far. 96% positive reviews on Steam already, so looking good. I'm excited to check it out. Let's dive in. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept this struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and, if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. I leave the safety of the city walls. I like this line, though. That's good. This choice cannot be altered later on. I think I'm a standard player. Honestly, I'm getting close to a casual player than I am to a restricted player these days. I'm all about the absence of challenge. To an extent, I guess. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. You were supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sounds of labor. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe anymore. It may keep away the goblins and pebblers, but not beast folk nor trolls. And the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It had a long day. Got settings up here, got a quick save. Pivotal. Games like these. I love the pixel artwork already. I'm wondering if this is going to fill in more the further we get into the narrative here. Let's say I need to look around cautiously. Considering the noise, you doubt that anyone noticed the clatter of hooves. The short, dry grasses barely cover the arid soil of this valley, but you're maybe a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods, which get denser as they climb up the hills. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. Hard to believe it's the only route north. I'd get off the horse and enter the camp briskly.
A gleaming intelligence.
Oh, Scooty Boober. Top tier name, first of all. Thank you for the first time gifts as well. 5 gifted, appreciate it very much. Thank you guys for the subs as well. Appreciate all the support. Your heavy boots hit the ground, and the pain of the long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bringing your backs and legs comfort. Oh, that makes me want to... Oh, yeah. I'm going to get a bear stretch in there. All you want now is a table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer, and some warm stew. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. Ah, that's what I thought.
Welcome to the bear pile.
Eviler, thank you as well. Appreciate it. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space. The fire pit is cold. 2 people are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. It takes them a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes. His beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. And take a look at the second soul. Just like you, she's wearing a gambeson? Gambeson? What's that? But hers is a bit loose, as if she just took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are weary yet kind. She smiles. That's a kind of padded armor, okay, like a leather shirt, got it. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these two surely look the part. though there should be more of them. 8, you believe. Let them speak first. It's nice to see an unarmed traveler in these godforsaken... Okay, let me try that again. It's nice to see an unharmed traveler in this godforsaken shithole. Makes me just a tiny bit hopeful. The bearded man's voice is strong yet timid. You'll be staying the night with us, I guess? We're soldiers here, Nye, adds the armored woman. Her moment switches from half asleep to relaxed. We'll do our best to keep the camp safe, but if you were to take the first watch, it would be a huge help. Travelers ought to help each other, wouldn't you say? Sure, leave it to me. Fantastic. She rubs her hands together. I remember the last time I had more than half a night of sleep. The hours before midnight should be the calmest. Just wake us up if anything happens. The man flashes you a wide smile. It's easy to wake us up. Just yell. He drinks from his mug. Drinks as a verb to describe speech is fun. I ask them about their lieutenant. Okay, here we go. Whenever you meet new people, you can influence how they perceive you by selecting one of the attitudes. Friendly, playful, distanced, intimidating, or vulnerable. This is cool. Yeah, this is really well written so far, for sure. Dapper Dog Man. Thank you for the gifted sub as well. First time gift, Dapper. Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, this is what I'm naturally gravitating toward. I'll be real. If I'm treating this like it's me inserting myself into this player character role, I think that's going to be what works best. I'm sure you're busy, so if you could just introduce me to your lieutenant. The armored soldier spares you a polite smile. Next time, better schedule a meeting. This place gets really crowded these days. She stands up. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. I figured you aren't here on a walk. Let's say it's me you need to speak with. Are you a messenger? Did you lose your mount, or are you looking for help? I'm your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself. Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping its saddle. I'm Talia, by the way. It may be Trap. A gesture for her to stop, pretending to be embarrassed. No, I don't think it's a trap this early on. I trust her. I shake her hand. People call me Baer. People don't call me Jared Leto. People try to call me Jared Leto, I quickly correct them. Her grasp is confident, the shake is slight. Just keep your horse away from the tents. We don't need to smell its dung. There's this one issue. The soldier in the shirt also rises to his feet. We've no tent to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something. I should get used to sleeping on the ground anyway. Jared Leto. Okay, yeah, no, that's good. That's a +2. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans could ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but also bulky, as heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle within a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side is a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragonwoods from the conquests in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without it, you too would be lost. It's funny we're talking about Jared Leto too. One of my favorite reviews for this game that I saw so far was one sentence long, and it read something along the lines of, I loved when the Roadwarden said, it's warden time, and then he warded all over everybody. It was a positive review, so, you know, contributing well. It's my only companion here. I wanted to feel at ease. It takes a few steps toward you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch the bottom of its neck with strength and confidence, just the way it likes it. Humans see useful animals and even pets as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom. But you know that horses need companionship. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple of minutes to examine its back just in case. While the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal, with enough time it starts to chafe. You wish it had something better to eat than this shabby grass. You should look for an inn. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Oh god, they're here too. Worst of all, you have no rope left. But maybe the soldiers could share one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions essential for your trade. My eyes immediately gravitated down to Scholar, because I think so highly of myself. But now I'm starting to think, well, hold on, which of these sets of things are really going to be the most valuable? Do I think? I am a nerd, I'm a big nerd. Talismans that help me use my powers, as well as an iron axe and a worn gambeson. I get to choose between a worn and a fine gambeson, I guess. I mean, maybe I should just go with my gut, really. Plus, I bet writing instruments will have some kind of weird, helpful application. Or I could learn more, I guess. Oh. Well, there we go. Well, I'm not going to read all this, but this is good news for those of you that are curious to know more about them. There you go. Yeah, I'm just going to go with my gut here. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced. The spare clothes are still here. Just in case, you take a look at your wooden bowl and mug, your cape, tinderbox, bandages, some food rations, knife. Nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes. This doesn't make it any more exciting. Open your inventory to see your possessions. Okay. Wants to pick Scholar but doesn't want to read. You know what? Yeah, you got me. Owned. A simple battle axe. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I guess I would have figured that out eventually. Parchment scrolls kept in tubes. Most northern lions are illiterate. Yeah, that's pretty common knowledge. Food rations, fresh healing potion. Taking hits will damage your armor. You can then fix it in various settlements. Cool. Okay. I like that. I return to the soldiers. Let's do a quick save real quick. There we go. They're at the table again, observing your beast and chatting between themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them eating out of wooden bowls. Your favorite food is wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. You can sit down on a tree log. I mean, I'm not going to turn my nose up at a free meal. It's cold gruel, a meal eaten in times of hardship. This specific bowl is filled with water, hog millet, some strange-looking cereals, and blueberries. I hope it's CT Crunch. Welcoming you with a meal, even a humble one, is beyond their duty. Soldiers live with and for their companions, constantly on the move from one part of the realm to another, making sacrifices to protect their group as they face dozens of hideous creatures. Their lives are filled with discipline, hardship, and camaraderie. Roadwardens, on the other hand, learn how to work by themselves. They seldom engage in open combat, patrolling the same roads for years. They help the settlements stay in touch, but also maintain commerce, settle down, forge friendships. When there are no laws to follow, they use their own judgment. Different responsibilities, different lifestyles. I eat quickly, focusing on the delicious, crunchy flavors. and speak with Tulia. Ah, okay, we got nourishment now, too. This is a really good way to introduce the UI elements. I'm enjoying that a lot. She's focused and chooses her words carefully. She looks away only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can't tell you less than I would like to, and less than I should. She nods toward the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of the summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead. 1 has run away in tears. We're also strangers in this land, adds her companion. Any piece of information may help me do my job. The man leans forward, his legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom. His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What did the officials tell you? I expect not that much. No soul governs these lands. I share what I consider to be relevant. These people are my friends. I don't know why I'd be so distrusting immediately. You tell the soldiers how little guidance you've received. Since this area is too far away from Hovlevan and to keep it under control, you were warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits, or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. From time to time, new people come here to look for boundless opportunities. Most of them never return. Do they turn into walking corpses or find what they're looking for? No soul could tell me, so I was looking for your guidance. Oh my god. The lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Oh boy, information overload. Okay, hold on. I lost my rope. Do you have one? You're in luck. She heads toward one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack, revealing a rope. Let's go. Rope acquired. I take a closer look. A regular rope made of hemp fibers. Offer some food in return. Talia leans forward and rests her forearms on her thighs, looking down with clasped hands, then meets your eyes. I'd normally refuse, but we need some decent food. Every day I'm searching through our growths looking for worms and putridity. We forage, but it's not a bad spot. Some food rations will brighten up a foggy day. Nice. That seems like a worthwhile trade. Cecil Laney! Thank you for the 2 months. Welcome back. Bear hugs for him, please. Appreciate it. What should I know about the peninsula? I'll tell you what I know, and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey, I'd guess it would be 3-4 days? When you confirm, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Hovlevan officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages. Collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect lumber, deliver tools. But maintaining order on a wild coast such as this one is like filling the ocean depths with coins. Because of the rocks, you can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore and boats can't get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore. And they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to the camp. But when we travel to the roadside inn built at the north, they're happy to trade. And to play dice. Why not just stay at one of the settlements? The man clears his throat. I mean, you know, we're to guard this road. The camp is our post. And, well... He turns toward Tulia. She lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Baer, but... Are you a devout soul? Oh boy. Oh boy. Time to pick religion. Oh man. I saw this one. I have a strong connection to nature and spirit. spirits and follow the path of my ancestors. Some of my beliefs may be considered sinister and treacherous by the city folk. You'd probably call me a pagan. A pagan Roadwarden? The man scratches his head without the slightest subtlety. Now, I'm sure we can have a conversation. We're civilized people. The lieutenant clears her throat. I'm from the United Church, but I'm not a priest or anything, and definitely not a zealot. An awkward pause. The United Church has spilled the blood of countless pagan tribes. Oh boy, making it clear that who's not with them is against them. Ooh. Your family shared gruesome stories about the atrocities committed by the priests against your ancestors. I frown in silence. The people here are disquieting. Every few words, she taps the table with her finger. Their traditions won't help them negotiate with the officials. Here. She starts to draw lines with her index finger as if she's pointing at an invisible map. The peninsula is connected with roads like a big circle in the northwest, or like a big circle. In the northwest, you'll find a weird village at a bog. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think so. It even has a priest who claims to be an eremite. You nod. She means a fellowship. They do crazy shit, her companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down trees and dig in soil. Once I saw it, I begged to never return there. I see. You've heard tales such as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy their river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to humankind. Were you able to speak with these necromancers? Love you. Have a good day. Yep, girl. Oh, there you are. Oh shit. Oh no. What did I do? I realized that button was going to advance things in the game. Okay, sorry. Distracted for a second.
A renewal.
Did I progress through that? I think I did, didn't I? On accident. Whoopsie. Oh well, sorry about that. Okay, let's go with any monster worth mentioning? Anything that could catch my mount? We saw all sorts of beasts. The man starts to count on his fingers. Goblins, tree ants, cats large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, mothling eaters, griffins. But we managed to stay away. Some could catch up with most mounts. Talia glances at her companion. Though a palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coast and mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight more for food than territory. The soldier cracks his knuckles. Don't provoke them and ride fast. Just count on luck. How about the east? She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell. We went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. Boy, oh boy. What happened to your squad? Bandits happened. And monsters. A strong band, though, his companion chips in. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in this camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it and look for an inn. We had to travel through the night for a bit. The bearded soldier scoffs and crosses his arms, but she carries on. If he had decided otherwise, we would have all died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, that the armed ones pretend to be soldiers. Stay there at night, Lose everything you have. Sounds like slave hunters. Talia sighs. Very much so. They killed some and took others away, who knows where. They were letting the Northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath. Kinda worked, adds the soldier. We asked them for help, but they refused. We had to clear the entire camp on our own, and that's why 3 of our people died. Don't exaggerate, it's not like the lieutenant didn't make a mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take over their camp, but we didn't know they were our enemy well enough. They were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. She looks at you. At least we cleared the road. Saved lives. You mentioned monsters as well? Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young, too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader, and they didn't trust me. One of them got caught by a treant. Another one ignored my orders to perform some sort of a ritual hunt, so a werebear tore her to pieces. The last one tried to act tough, didn't tell us that he had cut his hand while cleaning his gambeson. We had to cut it off, and he was so ashamed that he decided to walk north, find a new life, disappear. Idiot. What a colorful journey. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. I stay silent. Talia seems defeated. Any ideas what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Talia takes a deep breath. Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him for almost half a year. The soldiers speak for a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that he had stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up at all in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife, without looking at you. I don't remember his voice. Always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, write notes on that wax tablet of his. Yep, and leave it done. Unlike us, Asterion never gets bored. Talia lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. Sounds like you're not sure if he's dead or not. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone's keeping him in a basement. We haven't seen him or his Saurian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. Richer Roadwardens often use 4-legged meat-eating saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since they're hatching, but unlike horses, can easily defend themselves from many monsters. At least your palfrey is fast and reliable, and won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message. Neither one of us had any insight into his dealings, says Talia. My predecessor left me no clues. We almost took a look at Asterion stuff. Wait! She raises her open palm. I almost forgot. She stands up and heads to a nearby tent. He has kids in a village near Havlavan. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions. Quite a treasure. She glances at you. But I would much prefer to bring them the truth about their father. Do you want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for his stuff? Here's the catch. She dusts the hilt off of her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. We're meant to stay here until fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll get back to Havlavan together. You think about your real mission. You were planning to return to Havlavan in the early fall anyway. If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy about me taking all of his possessions. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'll spare you anything. And who knows, you may just find his shell lying on the roadside tomorrow. He wears a mail, uses a spear mostly. Maybe 5 feet tall, but stout. Long red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. I was wondering that when they were talking about the horses before, because they described it as though horses were bigger than every, like, I don't know if they're humans. They might not be humans, what we are. But it sounds like 5 feet tall or shorter can be, like kind of the expectation for height for whatever we are. Yeah, I know horses are big, but it's not like there aren't human beings that are taller than a, horse standing on all 4 legs. That's not uncommon. All right, anyway. I don't think I need to... Well, we did just find a quest via asking a question. So maybe I should ask this one. If you were me, where would you go next? The soldier answers quickly. We still haven't figured out his name either. To the inn, of course. He grabs his empty mug. The one northwest from here. If you can't afford the room, the main hall's free of charge. The locals rarely gather there. The northern road is much more traveled, mentioned Stelia. But the hunters will tell you about this and that, and you'll have a chance to introduce yourself. The innkeeper can listen and knows many souls. Any tips on how to make a good first impression? Avoid cheap jokes. Stick to trade. Don't waste his time. Show him you can be relied on. Okay, act the opposite of what my instinct tells me to do. Got it. Noted. Well, that was pretty quick. Anything I should know about the camp? Some merchants built the camp to have an extra stop for mules and donkeys just between the inn and the southern villages. There's plenty of grass here and a pond nearby. You can sleep here whenever you want, though don't expect to wake up without pain in your back. Okay. What was your squad's mission? The usual. Making the roads safe, keeping people alive. I explained it may be important to me to know what they have tried to accomplish. I can't really tell you. Let's just say it would be nice to have a reliable outpost somewhere nearby. A place where you can always find a group of fighters willing to protect you in the name of the law. I mean, I might as well get the last one, right? It's not much of a story to being a lieutenant, honestly. She looks at her hand, which is currently rolling a mug over the table. In the city, there's a strict order of... what should I call it? She exchanges looks with her companion, but he can't help her. Well, leadership succession, I guess. Havlavan chief selects commanders, those select lieutenants, and those put their soldiers in order of priority. If a lieutenant dies, they get replaced by the next soldier in line. So you were his successor? Nah, not exactly. When we fought the bandits, our lieutenant was hit by a slingshot. His boyfriend jumped to help him, but failed to protect either of them from a spell. It was like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely avoiding their shield. Really unpleasant. She pauses. And you were the third one in line, is that right? Basically, yeah. I didn't plan to become a leader, though. I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to follow anyway. Right. Okay. We were thorough with it. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face. What makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. After the night, it'll only get worse. Your horse is already napping, still too anxious to lay down. I prepare for my watch. Stay tidy to have a better chance to influence others. Oh, cool. You won't get much cleaner without a proper bath. The soldier in the shirt is eager to guide you. Just observe the area. There's plenty of griffins around, though they won't try to jump over the palisade. Probably. Better watch out for the apes. They climb up and carry out any food they can find. And there's this one really loud were-elk that keeps smelling the wall, though it has never tried to get in. He points at a gate. The lieutenant and I will block the entrances. Sorry. I had a big meal. They're quite heavy, so if anyone comes here looking for a shelter, better call us to help you out. And if this someone's being chased by wolves or anything, you better throw them the rope instead. Oh, he's giving me instructions here. If it gets cold, feel free to make a fire. The best place is in the watchtower. You want to put a blanket there or something. All right. That's all in the archive, right? So I can check that if I need to go back and get instructions. He gives you a long, puzzled look. The watchtower? Oh, here. He points at a pile of crates. Just climb up to the tallest one. You'll have a great view of the northern side, the more dangerous side. And also, I know you're tired after all that riding. He points to the tent on the other side of the camp. I can handle a couple hours sleeping on the ground. If you wish, go there after me and rest just this once. At least I have a pallet inside. Yeah, I'll take the offer. Thanks, pal. Accept others' kindness when they offer it. That's my creed. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm. The sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time, your back aches. You force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps you focus on the tall grasses. For most of the time, you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point, the three-horned deers trying to challenge one another. Before they clash their antlers, a two-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movements. After a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight nor to admit their defeat. I don't let it distract me. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Runners are chasing a gray hare. A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox runs through with a lynx, making playful screeches. Bottom right face cam? Yeah, that's probably for the best, huh? I'm getting in the way of the art a little bit. Good call. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with just a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. I gather my things and squeeze into the tent, use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet, and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's much welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the outside world from the eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of this realm. Your wardening duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula. Learn about the territory, resources, and threats. Get to know the locals. And if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with Hovlevan officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time. 40 days to be exact. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tulia and return to Hovlevan. There you'll report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. Speaking of creed. Oh boy, all right. We're gonna read each one of these aloud. Whichever one strikes me at my heart, whichever one speaks to my soul. That is my personal goal. I need to gather some extra coins so I can help a person I care about. I need to gather some extra coins so I can retire early and live in prosperity and safety. It's not much of a need. If I gather enough connections among the local leaders, I'll use them to become a major player in the Merchant Guild. I want to be remembered as the soul who brought peace and order to this realm, a hero. Like 6 or 7 more fart sounds. Nope. I just want to help people. Make this region safer for the locals and the newcomers alike. 8 or 9 more fart sounds. I need to find a new life for myself. I have a difficult past and I want it to be forgotten. Yeah, okay. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, though the pleasant, humid, late summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather your strength. All I can do now is sleep. You spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard nor cold. This is going to cost us food and our hygiene, but we'll gain health. Okay. Noted. You're woken up by sunlight, well rested and ready. Without haste, you gather your things. After only a couple of breaths, you notice a weird smell, like a roast. No, burning meat. Burning, rotten meat. Disgust crawls into your consciousness. You exit the tent. Your horse is looking around nervously. Your bags are where you had left them. You see an open gate. Both soldiers are standing near a humble pyre. The man in the shirt looks at it contemplatively. Talia is the first one to address you. Baer. She greets you with a nod. We use the horse's manure for the flames, so don't worry about cleaning it up. You see a corpse among the flames. It's impossible to tell if it belongs to a male or a female, but it was an adult. The burning process won't be over for a couple more hours. A traveler? Or an undead? The latter. A young one. She lacked the pneuma to understand that she couldn't get inside the camp without climbing. I stabbed her with a spear from a safe distance. She shifts her weight. One more fog and she'd be a real threat. Even now, it took a couple of hits to knock her down. Sooner or later, every human shell wakes up, gaining more strength with each soul it devours, and each moment it spends in the fogs. Burning the dead is not just a religious practice. It's a necessity. Soldiers, priests, village mayors, even roadwardens. Making a large pyre takes a lot of time, but it saves lives. Talia called this undead a she. Most unites hesitate to do so. That is an interesting little factoid. Time to go. Running away from the reek, huh? I don't blame you. Find us here if you need us, or if you learn what happened to Asterion. There's enough ground here for you to rest. Safe travels. These words make you stop. An old farewell mocked in a number of songs and tales, but yet you hear no scorn in Talia's voice. You wonder how many acts of kindness like this one you're going to experience in the days to follow. She returns to the pyre. You somehow miss the fact that your mount is already saddled and warmed up. You double-check the equipment, but you don't need to fix anything. The soldiers were diligent. Normally, preparing any palfrey for a long journey takes a lot of time. You put on your gambeson and make sure that your axe is tightly attached to your belt. Then get in the saddle. The palfrey knicker's ready to leave. It's time for you to get to the crossroads, north from here. Use the travel button to continue your journey. Cool. All right. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find the pack of four-legged griffins. They're larger than foxes and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat, and colors, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. About 24 beasts are yelling, brawling, and chasing each other around, blocking your path. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase after you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travelers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually, the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple of hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Tulia. You've got a lot to do, and time may be of the essence. Ooh. On occasion, you can use the Scholar's Education to unlock unique interactions. I mix black powder with gladden that grows nearby, and the dried skunk sorrel from my bag. Once I ignite it and throw it at the griffins, they'll scatter. Most city folk feel aversion toward black powder, and you touch it with great care. The odor of the plants makes you feel dizzy, but what's more important is that the griffins have wolf-like sensitivity to smells and noises. A few of the beasts turn their heads toward you as you approach the pack with a bag in your hand. You ignite your missile and throw it forward. At first, the creatures surround the source of smoke, but then growl in disgust, even putting their beaks to the ground. They flee, allowing you to continue your journey. So I basically just threw a Molotov cocktail at the problem and solved it, so. The scholarly way. I climb on the horse and cover my nose. I really need to find a proper alchemy set. More like a stink bomb, I guess. Yeah, that's more accurate. Baer the Roadwarden. After years spent on studying old codices and training, I left home to escape my difficult past. You're literate. And alchemical. Lots of stuff going on here. You've got a section for the lies that you're maintaining. That's fantastic. I like that a lot. I wish we had that in real life, right? Yeah. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush, and the trail overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't read, or write. Probably both. For folks who can't... Oh, yeah. It was put here by someone who can't write for folks who can't read. Sorry, don't let me butcher the line there. Covered in old red paint, it points east. Blood there, as people say. Danger to be found. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot, Small. I'm having a good time. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. What's the horse's name? Let's find out. PICKME in the chat if you'd like to be selected. We'll do a Moobot drawing to find out the name of our horse. I'll keep track of your achievements as the journey unfolds. Neat. My journal. My inventory. Cool. Right on. Yo, Jesk, thank you. Appreciate that. Riazaris? Is that how I say that? You'll be our horse. That seems like a fitting name for this horse. Riazaris is peaceful as you stroke its mane. That's a little uncomfortable now that I've chosen a member of chat for that. Think about that. B. Greenfield. Thanks for the 25. Welcome back as well. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but you've spent many years together. It's true. Happy to go on. It takes a couple of steps forward. You spot a few BaerTaffy shrubs and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. Left or right, left or right. You got to pick. You can't think about it. Don't think about what they said before about the things that happen when you choose left or right. You just have to pick left or right. You have to just pick what your brain tells you. Just pick what your heart tells you. What your entire being demands is left. Explore west. Riazarus trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you. But once you push your hips forward, and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower, taller than the trees. It must be the inn I've heard about. Inns like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There's seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the buildings, then at least the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gambesons, each one of them dyed differently: yellow, green, and linen gray. A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair, pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I haven't seen a horse for years now. I just said it's weird to see such a large jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Hovlevan. Well, no jackass would wear satellites, eh? She exchanges a few words with a male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? I'm playful. You wouldn't believe it. The lessons were a pain. You get off your horse and imitate the silly walk from the day that followed your first long journey when your whole shell was crying. You illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to hips, then thighs. In return, the guards tell you about that time when they had to carry their friend with bitten off legs for 3 days straight through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guards open the gate. You may be in a good mood. The woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you. But don't get so noisy when you talk to the boss. The man never smiles. He has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside. Speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry. The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head toward the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. I'm gonna move this thing. You're lucky to show up. His voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale. Wormwood, bog myrtle, juniper berries, cat's foot. He fills a mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon. Today, maybe, and we don't drink here before the even. I hate to see the good stuff go to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and the hair is naturally bluish. He's a very interesting looking person. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. I stand at the counter. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise.
Welcome to the Bear Pie.
Riazarus! Our loyal steed subscribing with Prime, appreciate it. Welcome on in. Bear hugs for him, please. Here you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt doesn't belong to Holovan. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want a bed or a meal, you'll have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I'd need to check. Alright, we gotta be straightforward with this dude. I'm gonna just be all business. Let's be distanced. I won't stay here for long. I introduce myself. He nods and fills another mug, this time with water. I guess there's no point in waiting for Asterion then. I'm glad to see someone taking his place. Even my crew here hits the road only if they need to see the healers of Howler's Dell. And they're more than resourceful. A Roadwarden is always going to find work here in the north. Though maybe not on the eastern road. He takes a mouthful of water and drinks it with a pleased sigh. There are no guests here at the time. Or hardly ever. I can take a short break. For a brief moment, he meets your eyes. I don't know why. I just feel like this decision is important. He's gonna judge me for whether or not I choose to drink the ale, and should I choose to drink the ale. He's given me the ale, he's offered me the ale. He's also filled another mug with water, though. And I'm being straightforward with him. Perhaps he prefers a Roadwarden off the sauce. One of sharp senses. I ignore the ale. And tell the man I've got a couple of questions. I'm getting down to business here. Sure, go ahead. Do I have money? I do have money. I have 5 coins. Huh. What do you have for sale? I can go pick up a few things for you. Some food for your travels to start with. That's a big answer for this question. I've got an elk fur I don't need. Its Baer was caught by a pack of red wolves. Nice for a sleeping spot, just as nice for a wall. An almost untouched soap. Priceless for a traveler. You can't tell if he's being sarcastic, but I would like that. Made of fine oak ash. Strong, though. You should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. He's awfully jokey for being the so-called, straight shooter. After you mention you'd like something more useful on these roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare, but if you pay well, you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels. A yew bow, wool cords, and the trigger needs just a little bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking it in magic. Takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 16-year-old could handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to a helpful ally. 30 coins, Jesus. I mean, a box of soap does seem like a pretty worthwhile purchase. I'm gonna go ahead and buy some soap. Feel like I could use that. You have any leftovers? Yes. I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full. You'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway. And I'll prepare something for you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long curved claw, almost black. Half an hour, that's quite a lot of berry picking. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. The berries are not a problem. The innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snakes. Better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook. And protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Well, great. Yeah, it's super well written. This is for folks into this genre. I think this is a winner here for sure. Let's see. It's already. I'm very glad I dedicated the whole stream to it today, though, because I'm already I'm feeling it big time, man. This is a lot of reading. Ooh, just gonna take a little break here. It's really good, though. Like I said, it's very well written. It's engaging. Need anything done? I could use a job. I assume you mean a job for a road warden. Tell you what. He looks you in the eyes. There are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike. But they've gotten more active in the last 2 years. One day they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt they're the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Howler's Dell northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Tice, the mayor, about Glacia, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. Probably Glaucia, I guess? If Glaucia is ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of her band. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have a chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. 3. He nods with a smile. Booyah! Negotiated. 50% raise on the job. Let's go. I'm looking for Asterion, the previous road warden. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help. He rests his elbow on the tabletop and grunts quietly to clear his throat. But I do want you to find him, so. Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins. My half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? That's a lot of coins, apparently. He looks at a window and starts to play with a shutter. I just think Asterion ain't the kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of fortune, and I'd risk saying he'd earned my trust. Not only mine, you know. It's easy for a road warden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers. I've sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. All right. It's the strangest thing, Zach. I may have just the thing you need. With that exclamation point RW command right there, yeah. Good old text-based fantasy RPG Road Warden. Let's see. Any rumors worth sharing? I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. But you know what you're doing. Who are you wondering about? Oh. That's very interesting. What do you know about Talia? I ain't seen Talia in quite some time. Since her squad vanished in the fog, she's been careful. Glad to know she's still alive. She's too inexperienced to lead others to battle, I think. Like most people, she needs to follow others, but she already knows that. There's nothing worse than a fighter too stupid to limit their ambitions. What do you know about Baer? I don't know them. That hurts, but at least you're honest. What do you know about, Barack Obama? That's just kind of ignorant, but let's change the topic. That's awkward. Let's see. What can you tell me about the peninsula? What can anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name. Unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I'd call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. He glances at your eyes. But it's not us who hunt, keep that in heart. But the beasts, in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here, you see how harsh it is to hit the road. You have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove, behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. I'm sure you've heard a lot already. The people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. Are the eastern roads as rough as I've heard? Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here, you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend a night there, and monkeys stole food and gods from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch. The eastern forests are wild, the roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gone was the home of the Enchantress. Just stay on track until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You'll recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow surrounded by a wall. He looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler without coating. She lives as a hermit, Eudocia. I can't decide if they want me to say this as a s or a ch. I don't even know how she survives there. But if you don't have decent coin, you won't find much. So back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery, a shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. I'm gonna click this again, but if he's got another 3 paragraphs, I'm gonna hesitate. Oh boy. Well, there are hills nearby. Then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it. And they say it's haunted, but who knows? Who cares? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. Eudocia, okay. Try to get that pronunciation baked in there. You'll get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. But keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell, set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and mouflons and druids. They'll let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the Ape Ale Inn yet. It means they ain't been to the Ape Ale Inn yet. I smile politely. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White marshes, set at the bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumors about the place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So, 3 villages, really. Howlers, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you, though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if it's something he would tell the other travelers as well. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering that myself here. Pop up. Let me see if... It looks like I'm getting this information, and it's being cataloged. Because I believe the only place that Old Pagos has been mentioned is in this conversation so far, right? So, yeah. So that's good. Yeah, it's actually helping a lot to dive this deep into the conversational trees. I only know about another inn. It's far from here, maybe a day on foot. A bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place. Close to villages of fishers and hunters, though I don't know much about them. All right, my goodness. I might as well do this one. I'm going to opt for quick skimming this particular time, though. I know I don't want to do this, but I've been in this inn for about 15 minutes now, it feels like, so... Oh, we figured out his name. Wow. Okay, that's good. Is that just a lowercase L? Or is that an uppercase L, but it just looks really strange in this font? I think that's what it is, yeah, because look at this T and the way it kind of like... Oh, it's an I. Oh, okay. Eason? I'm having a tough time pronouncing these names, man. Eason. Jason! Plus, that wouldn't be a J, would it, buddy? Yeah, think about that. Or Layson, sorry, yeah. Clearly, I'm operating on all cylinders up here. Shark in a chair! Thanks for the gifties. Appreciate that a lot. Very kind. Bear hugs and bear gifts for him. 10 gifted. Welcome to the pile, everyone. Thank you. Press X to Eason. Yeah, exactly. I'm Eason, but I rarely hear the name. Is there a good story behind the inn's name? I mean, there's a story, but not a good one. For years, I wanted to have an inn called Pelt, but in my city, it would be in bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap, had a nasty reputation. There was the Claw, and Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful, I think. The good places used at least 2 words. Empty Barrel, a Rose in a Helmet, Empress Smile. Pighead was the exception, and was a real dive. In my soul, it's still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for, and what will make us reach our goals. Oh, alright then, finally. Back outside. Riazarus is fighting off flies with its tail. You hear the sounds of work coming from the armorer's workshop. Well, head there. You walk past the well and find a small open shed not unlike the stable, but with a humble set of tables, carving tools, hammers, sharpening stones, pincers, knives, and other tools. As long as something can be solved by brute force, this place will find a way to do so. There are 2 people sitting on a long bench. The first one is a male with maybe inch-long hair, a cleanly shaven face, a thin, long yellow tunic, bare legs, and sandals. Oh. Well, I'll pass it along then, Shark. Thank you. Sorry. Got lost here. He ignores your presence, sewing a gambeson with great concentration. The second person is a boy, maybe 15, who's wearing the crude outfit of a farmer. He glances at you, but soon returns to sharpening a long dagger. Always let them talk first. Wait for them to notice me. After a few minutes, the man finishes his task and raises his head. He puts away the piece of garment on the table, stands up, bows to you, and shrugs, waiting for you to speak. Damn it, he knows the rule too. Could you patch my clothes if they were torn? He shakes his head and points to the uneven seams on his own tunic, then grabs a crude bone needle and shows you its broken head. He wouldn't even if he had the tools, says the boy. But you can try in Hallersdale or Gale Rocks. I look at the youngster. Learning the trade, I see. Kind of. He answers reluctantly, but his teacher pats his knee, giving him a harsh look. The kid clears his throat. Yes, but we both ain't masters, you see? There's not a soul to teach us, so once I'm ready, I'll try hunting instead. Fixing things for others is boring. The man grunts a sound, though you don't understand it. Seeing your face, the boy chuckles. He said safe. Let's meet in the middle. Boring, but safe. The man nods. I'm in need of your services. He nods, points at the laces in the front of your jacket, raises his clenched fingers to his shoulders, then gently spreads and lowers them as if he's taking off a robe. You follow his command and allow him to properly inspect your gambeson. After a few minutes, he gives it back and then reaches for his pouch. He pulls out one dragon bone, shrugs, then another one, and waves both of them in the air, pursing his lips. He makes a few speech-like noises with his empty mouth, groaning what sounds like, I don't know. I consider his offer. In 1 hour, your jacket will be carefully patched up. Yes. Your jacket is as good as this armorer can make it. Nice. I feel like this gambeson could use some adjustments. He nods enthusiastically, but then apologetically points behind him at the small box filled with basic tools. I see. There it is, Shark. Yo, thank you. That's awesome. Appreciate that, too. The $50 toward the fundraiser. That's awesome. Thank you, thank you. Let's see. I should go outside and forage for berries before it gets too late. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock somewhere in the thicket. The creatures are not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you or slither closer, the jabs of the hook keep them at a distance. You don't know much about these berries. They're round and reddish. You wouldn't trust such a color even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, and you make sure to thoroughly cover your skin with your clothes. You have to look through many bushes to fill the bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes doesn't allow you to relax. I notice a shrub that's not like the others. One of the bushes in the back has more berries than the others. They're purple, and as you squeeze one of them, you recognize that these are marsh buells. In small amounts, they're added to pies, sauces, and beverages, known for their delicate sourness and sweetness. Unique, but not intrusive. Still, eating the cup of them will make one sick, if not poisoned. You're surprised to see them in a meadow, far away from a wetland. You could use them in an alchemy table if you can find it. For now, you put a fistful into one of your jars. The others are still a bit greenish. I gather the berries and return to the gate. You return to the courtyard. 2 of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. Their wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. I enter the inn. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. The innkeeper is sitting at the stove, cleaning a set of metal tools and ladles. You again. Need anything? I put his fruits on the counter. Great. I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I'd serve it to even merchants if there were any around. The meal is warm and filling, it's well seasoned and not overcooked. And like I've said, I rarely have food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. Say thanks, be polite. How'd that old hook of mine work out for you? I see you still have your hands. I've lost it? Oh, that is sly. That's a sly lie. I don't need to keep a hook. I'm fine. He takes the tools from you and nods. Need anything else? I don't have any money to buy it anyway. I gotta take a goddamn bath, dude. Can I have a bath? You have a tub of water I can sit in for a bit? Let's just go back outside, I guess. Riazarus is moving around slowly as far as its court allows. You hear the sounds of work coming from the armorer's workshop. Let's approach the guards. The woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown, hairy boar which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forests. It responds to the touch of the human's hand and brush with grateful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind hoof. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the wall, and you have no doubts that its charge would leave Riazarus dead in a breath. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. "So the new Roadwarden?" She points at a window with her chin, forestalling the question. "We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we can use some assistance." She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. She may be aged and decrepit at 30, but you can hardly tell. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. The boar runs up to her, observing your boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats its back but maintains her focus. "How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and can talk about this and that. Maybe you'll get a couple of coins. Or lose one." She winks. "We can play dice or throw axes at a target." Ooh, dice or axe throwing. Which is a scholar going to be better at? Gotta be dice, right? Absolutely. Your arrival, and especially the dragon bone you pull out, are cheerfully welcomed. Two of the guards bring a table from the inn. Another one prepares a couple of stools and chairs. There are also spectators, and you're told that the other hunters are either sleeping or have duty on the tower. "Remember, no magic," says one of the players. His face is deadly serious. Ah, okay. This is clearly be an opportunity for the magicians to fool around with things. The game is new to you, but in no way baffling. 4 people can play at once. The wooden dice are long with only 4 dotted faces. Every time someone wins a round, they get a point. And the person with the most points at the end of the game wins all the coins. As you play, you don't feel like you have much control over the results. You blend in with the group. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimal strategies. Riazarus and Talia's camp are also brought up, but when you ask about the roads or the locals, their stories are vague. The drinks are here. It's a poor beer made from the leftovers after the regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head, but you try to avoid the smell. "Just don't spill anything, the boar may get sick," says your bald opponent. In just a few minutes, you get 2 points, which are now represented by smooth pebbles. You don't really know how you got them. Either you don't get the strategy or it's just pure luck. There's a strategy to this game, I can see it. I can't be sure I'll win, but I can play better than they expect. Your score is the lowest. Scholarly! You move a dragon bone to the bold, quiet man with wide nostrils who has the grin of a wolf. After the table and the chairs are moved back into the building, the guard in yellow armor asks if she can help you with anything. Well, so much for that. I was foraging for berries for the innkeep. "So I've heard. Don't worry about it. Usually we forage by ourselves, but he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time, just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's of use and who's too proud for their own good." I have some questions about this place. "Not much to tell, honestly. There are many beasts around, both wild game and dangerous monsters. We spend our time surrounded by these walls, leaving only to hunt, forage, or trade." Your group seems to be quite attached to this boar. "How could you not?" She crouches and raises the boar's head, but it steps away and squeals as if someone's murdering it. Ah, that's great. "It came with us from the city just in case. We had no clue how our first winter would go, so we needed some backup meat. And it works, too. Cleans the dirt. She reaches out to the beast again, but it trots away. The woman straightens up with a pleased sigh. We haven't needed to eat it so far, but it's always funny. I learned in the home village that the farm boars are getting a bit smaller and more cuddly. Kind of like ibexes, so it's not such a wild, dangerous beast. But we don't let it get close to other animals. Or children. Pardon me. Didn't have much of a honker there, I didn't think. What do you usually hunt for? Anything we can eat or sell. If there's a partridge, a squirrel, or a rat, we don't complain. But when we move as a group, we look for something larger. Deers and aurochs are delicious, but we don't always look for taste alone. There's value in bones, antlers, claws, tusks, things people use to make tools or sculptures. We use some of them to make tools and spears. You can never have enough spears. She pauses and looks at a strand of her hair and then suddenly speaks up again. And we look for furs, of course. What can I find north of here? I'm sorry, we don't really go to those regions. We stay close to home, only sometimes move south or west to Howler's Dell, but only to trade. They're fine with buying more than they need since they take their wares to the coast. She takes a long breath, twirling her hair and gathering her thoughts. You know what? I've never even seen a beach. I've been living here for more than 10 years now. The only part of the sea I've seen was from Old Pagos, which is placed on a hill. I've never put a toe in salt water. She looks toward another huntress who confirms that her experience is the same. But Old Pagos is a good place. As long as you don't mock their order and act nice, they'll also be kind. Boss says they're too serious for him to stand them, but at least they don't bite without a reason. Heard anything about the necromancers? It's something new. Her voice lowers to a whisper. I've never been to White Marshes, but over the years we saw people moving away from there, south. They told us that the place has changed too much. A priest died, I think? And a new one awakens the dead. Sorry, Roadwarden, that's all I know. If she's hiding something, she sounds convincing. That's an unusual tower. I'd expect it to be closer to the gate. And shorter. Like in Hopflaven? Fair. But it ain't here to protect the gate. This stronghold was built long before we moved in and not to fight off humans. The tower was meant to be used by those who observe the deep forest. We look out for fires, dragons, and any winged creatures that are looking to roost on the roof. Baldy, she nods toward a man who is indeed completely bald, has a great eye, and sees well even in darkness. Here? Everything lives here. She flips her hair. I swear we saw a few dragons, a unicorn family, a battle between trolls and goblins, faced 2 beastmen. Oh, and a gargoyle. And a hunting queen shouts all the time. I could tell you all about them. But I won't. She winks and pats the boar on its head. You know, hunters have their secrets. Have you ever been at the heart of the woods? We sometimes hunt south from there. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown. Maybe the soil is different? She shrugs, then moves the hair away from her forehead. But it's a risky spot. There are tree ants there and wolves, even the furless ones. And if you have to go through the tall grasses, watch out for what's on the ground. There ain't many archers in the trees. There are all too many worms, even larger than a water leech. Any discount for friends? Oh, she wants to be paid for her info. Depending on the friend. She gives you a radiant smile. Let's say 15. If it's too much for you, maybe ask me after you spend some time around. Show me what you're capable of. Play dice with us when you have an hour to spare. These folks here, they crave gossip. I don't have enough. What was that? Nah, Roadwarden, we use names and stories among friends. You ain't one. Don't make me tempt curses. Oh boy. Alright then. I know when my stay has been over, or when I've overstayed my welcome, that's what I'm trying to say. I go to the well. The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink he drew with a bucket and tells you to use only as much water as necessary. The oak ash soap you own can help you get cleaner. You need 3 pieces of bathing equipment to get more out of this place. I wash my shell. Splashing yourself with cold water from a bucket won't take away your smell, but it's enough to remove the tallow and sweat from your skin or mud stains from your clothes. Well, that's nice at least. All right. Back to the inn, I guess. Or no, we're done here, right? Yeah, I think I need to go to the, back to the armorer? Where am I going now? Oh, I need to travel. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Good to hear, Martini. Yeah, no, I'm having a great time. And if any of y'all are interested, feel free to use that exclamation point RW command. Use that tracking link to check out the game for yourself. That does help me out quite a bit too. The road uphill meanders, slowing you down and forcing you to pay close attention not only to the shadows of the trees, but also to the tight rocky passages. You can't help but notice a few caves and fine ambush spots. I keep an eye out for any sign of life. Standing in front of the gate, you hear no voices, no tools at work, no steps. Dozens of birds live among the collapsed roofs. Their fluttering, singing, and squawking is free of worries. If you want to travel any further, you need to ride around the palisade. Searching the ruins may take a lot of time. The broken gate on the north will lead you to the village. The sound of the gentle river reaches you from the east, where you see a saggy fence surrounding an overgrown pasture. Behind the burnt building in the east, you see an oddly barren field. I move forward. I inspect the fields in the southwest. You're surrounded by what looks like a field plowed in late autumn, disturbed by hundreds of rains and snowfalls. There's a few clumps of grass and wheat, but a place like this one, abandoned for years, should already have turned itself into a green lay? A barren field. Maybe it was overused, but you would still expect the weeds to sprout. A curse? The path leading west from here ends at the edge of the fields, shifting into a meadow, then a forest. In the north, you see a path leading around the palisade. I inspect the palisade in the west. The tracks of human footwear and many, many more ape footprints cover the path formed around the palisade's breach. As far as you can tell, the freshest footprints lead to the village. The wooden stakes spread on the ground are rotten, covered in mushrooms, small flowers, insects, and worms. A good source of animal goblin food, though you'd expect them to also hunt for the birds and eggs. The meadow in the west turns into a forest quickly. The grasses in the north surround dozens of tree stumps, already covered with moss and fungi. Going south, you'll reach a large field, but you don't see any crops. I shouldn't enter the forest, especially not in this area. It's unpredictable. I go to the main square. In every village, the main square is the fanciest area, meant to charm the travelers. Yet this is way more than you expected. The houses are as big as in Havlavan, and the paved ground took a lot of work and materials. The walls, now charred and riddled with holes, are made of an expensive coated wattle. The tiles for the roofs also had to be brought here from a different settlement. You peek inside the three smaller buildings, the rotting remains of their former splendor. The birds living in dozens of nests respond to your arrival with quite a commotion. You don't find even a single dragon bone, nor a tool or a piece of furniture left unbroken or unrotten. You're surrounded by bad smells, dirt, animal droppings, and garbage. The well also stinks. It has no bucket, but you'd be afraid to use it anyway. Who knows how many birds have relieved themselves inside, or how many old rats have found their death while climbing up the walls. Suddenly you hear some sounds coming from the largest building. Your stomach makes you let out a painful groan. I should check it out. You step cautiously toward the scent of urine and sweat. The flickering candlelight shows you broken furniture, yet no signs of burnt wood. You consider pulling the other door when a masculine voice proves that your presence is not unnoticed. I didn't want to come to this, but stay where you are. Whatever you put inside, be it a shoe, a hand, or you damn thinker, it'll get a bolt. Oh boy. Let's be vulnerable. No, let's be friendly. Relax, stranger, I'm a Roadwarden. We chose this place to visit from all that there are. Even outlaws don't come here. He pauses, then goes on before you respond. And maybe you're telling the truth, so let's say this. My little ballista here is all pulled and ready. You won't do anything stupid, right? No running, no jumping around, show your hands. The man's voice lacks confidence, and his accent is tricky for you. He could be from the distant south, but as long as you don't speak too quickly, you understand one another. You don't hear any other movements, breathing, voices. You lean your axe against the doorframe and make sure that your knife is well hidden. The dense smell of urine hits you with full force, while the tools and utensils are hard to distinguish from rubbish. The route to the upper floor is blocked by the collapsed roof and loose wooden beams. There are scraps of rusting iron and steel on the ground, detached from now destroyed barrels. The scavenger is sitting on a blanket in front of the tent, pointing at the floor with his loaded crossbow. Not a short man, though a bit skinny. There are long claw scars on his left I skipped a line. He's tan, dark-haired, and has seen his share of struggles. There are long claw scars on his left cheek, and another one that would divide his eyebrow in half if it hadn't been consumed by a fire, just like the rest of his forehead. His clothes are untainted by vanity. He's barefoot in a dirty linen shirt with rolled-up sleeves and simple pants that use a cord for a belt. His long beard and hair are untrimmed and tangled. I sit on the stairs with raised hands. I'm not a threat. You wipe the dust off the steps, but before you sit down, you hear the man's annoyed voice. Don't get too homey. It's the only place here that's not just ashes and debris, and I'm not sharing it. You better ride ahead. I already piled up whatever hasn't rotten. The candlelights are dancing on his burnt face and arms. He moves his crossbow just enough to make sure he won't shoot you by accident. I saw your horse. Maybe you could help me, What are you looking for in this place? You don't sound like you're from the north. I'm looking for another Roadwarden. A man known as Asterion. I have never met him, but I surely heard his name many times. He vanished long before I got to the coast. At first, people were asking about him. Now they think he's dead. Listen. He scratches his thighs nervously. I'm hungry. So damn hungry, I can't hunt or fish with all the ape men around. Can you share anything, Roadster? I might be a drifter. It wouldn't big if I'd not lost my bags on the road. Take these cereals and crackers. With some water, you'll have a gruel. He lets out a relieved breath. I may even boil it. After a moment of hesitation, he grabs the apple. Thought I would have had to run after birds with me ballista. I'm really messing this one. I'm nailing it like 85% of the time, I feel like, but there's that 15% is like, what the hell are you going for there, buddy? You save the bolts for the ape men. Because of these stinkers, I can't roast here. Raw meat makes me want to puke. Thank you. After a couple of solid bites, he puts your gifts in 2 wooden bowls. Now, Roadster, he says with a full mouth. If you have questions, ask. I'll see a lot to make you get me out of here. Well, at the risk of further butchering this Irish accent, you may not spend too much longer with the scavenger here. Let's see. I should ask him what he wants. Where do you want to travel now? And what will you give me for my help? Let me explain first, I was in Howler's Dell, the closest village to the east and north. People there are nice, you know. Not like in old Pagos. Those are all boring and grimmer than a crow. But I cry a coin for everything, and damn good coin. I left, wanted to look around the ruins, see if there's anything left. I moved to Pelt and hired the hunters to help me here. No, Lonk, about your grifts. Drop my pack, bird. I just bought it. He spits on the floor. Fast and nimble, but not brave enough to listen to me when all that screeching and scratching started. God, I'm really losing this the more I do. So I ran away with me bags. If you fell on the floor and I pulled them here, you see how it is. Won't travel around with the tent on my back. But hey, you know, I'm doing it perfectly because we don't know this. He never says he's Irish. He's not supposed to be Irish. He's supposed to be some obscure southern accent of this fantasy realm. I'm actually doing it perfectly. You just have never heard this exact accent before, so it just sounds weird to you. I need maybe a day more. Just a day. Of all the iron scrap from the barrels so I can move forward. I need to stay here. But since you have a horse, come back tomorrow and help me return to Howler's Dell. How about it? Just need to know that the road is safe. Safe as it can be, I mean. I don't work for free. I have ways to pay you, don't you worry. I can give you dragons. I have to sell the iron first, so I need a bit of time, you see. 5 for a short escort would be plenty, I'd say. If you want, I'll give you a secret drawer of mine, a very fine mixture of scares 8 men away, works on pebblers too. When you ask if all this stench of urine is somehow related to this potion, he just winks and chuckles. I'd also like to learn more about the villages you visited. He seems surprised. I mean, why, sure. I don't have connections there, you know, just my eyes. He starts to hum. You know. A longer pause. When you get to Howler's, you'll meet the mayor there, for sure. Tice. Whatever you do, don't ask her where she got her coins from, She's rich, stupid rich, but don't ask her how this happened. Trust me. He scratches his beard with a mournful look. What exactly do you want me to do? You'll make sure there's no danger hiding on the road from here to Howler's. Rather, I know there's some danger, but as long as you can get there and safely return, I know you'll be handling some roaming monsters. This ballista has hit more beast skulls than I have fingers. I've never lost a finger out, there only the toes. Alright then. It's a deal. I'll escort you. Yeah, I gotta get out of here. I can't keep talking to this guy's voice. It's starting to cause me physical pain. Yeah, my stomach lets out a painful groan. That's how I'm feeling, dude. I explore the southeast part of the village. You find a small backyard. The ground is beaten. The grass grows only right next to the buildings. It was a fair spot for the training dancers and fighters. The stakes of the palisade are covered with playful carvings left by playful children who are portraying monsters, weapons, and humans. The rubble in the houses was pushed to corners. The furniture is broken, but you find something of use on one of the piles. A slightly rusty piece of steel. Once you pull it, you realize it's a coil for a crossbow. Nice. How handy. The closer you are to the village, and the longer you stay around, the more sick you feel. The taste of the gastric juices hits your mouth. Your forehead hurts. You start to stumble. Riazarus, worried by your sight, pokes your head with its nose. It's adorable. I walk far away from the walls. Yeah, no, I think I've stayed here long enough. Leaning on your mount, you go outside, keeping your mouth shut. After a few minutes, your eyes get clearer. It'd be better to leave, or at least to stay away from the village for the rest of the day. Sounds good. How about the clearing in the west? The meadow is lush and colorful, and so dense it's unsafe for a rider. For a couple of minutes, you lead Riazarus with a rope, avoiding the potential disaster in case a hoof falls into an animal den. Being forced to travel around the palisade every time you get here is going to be a pain. Most of the tree trunks look similar and have a comparable size. They were most likely planted with the sole purpose of being cut down and used by the locals. But cutting so many trees at once, That alone could provoke the wrath of the herds. Such a process should be spread across a couple of seasons, and you can't be sure that was the case. In the west and north, the clearing turns into a wild forest. In the east, you see a road leading north. I go to the road leading north from the village. You're at the closed northern gate. The neglected road is partially overgrown. You hear a river in the east, separated by lush meadow filled with crickets and rodents. I take a closer look at the gate. Pushed or pulled, it doesn't move an inch. Someone has spread dirt and rocks both underneath and around it, seemingly to keep the planks stuck in the ground. Head to the river. You see a quenching family of boars, some of them brown, some black. You consider turning back, but they pay you little attention. After a couple of grunts, they run north. The river's not too wide, yet unusually deep, with banks altered by the locals for decades, if not centuries. The water is cold and clean, yet filled with long plants growing from the bottom. You would rather avoid jumping inside or drinking from it, but you're tempted to at least wash your face, neck, and hands. Dozens, if not hundreds, of small fish are looking for tasty leaves, but also try to avoid their predators. A dance of life, completely unaware of your presence. You suddenly realize there's something else buried among the kelp. A rusty sickle sticking out of the ground, a couple of stone axes and hoes. The wooden handles in a large wagon are covered with moss, but you recognize their shapes. Why would someone drop them here? On the opposite bank, the meadow turns into a thick forest, impenetrable for a rider. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to get much cleaner washing myself in the river. I do want to consider it, though. You still need three pieces of bathing equipment. All right, well, let's go ahead and head a different direction then. Let's go this way. We went to the wetlands with their many streamers, ponds, and fish. Large birds run and fly between the gray, sparse trees that are covered with moss, mushrooms, and critters. For a human, it may be an unwelcoming and harsh realm, but the overwhelming swarms of insects prove that it's a realm full of life. The danger with teeth and claws is hidden below the water's surface. I stay away from the banks. This plant shouldn't be alive. Not without leaves. It doesn't resemble the other trees at the wetlands. It's something else. You get off your horse and prepare your axe. The water is filled with dirt and dead plants. It smells like an old corpse. The roots are spreading far, breaking through the water's surface. You don't see any saurians in the grasses or on the shore. You approach the table-like altar made of 3 limestone slabs. Were those rocks originally as formless as they are now? Or was there a point in time centuries ago when they were precisely shaped and decorated by masters of artistry? There's no way to tell. Riazarus is peacefully observing the dark grass and slapping flies with its tail. Whatever it is that you feel in the air, it's clear that your companion's eyes see this place through very different eyes. Hey, Gizmo. I smile and scratch the bottom of its neck. Go ahead, I'll look around for just a moment. I approach the altar. There's clumped dirt in the uneven nicks, fused by years of winds and rains. The bottom surface of the table is dusty, but you don't find any spider webs or mold, even though it's a perfect spot for them. The tree roots cling to the altar in many spots. They're firmly attached. You struggle to move them even an inch. The cream-colored limestone is cold and smooth. I try to make an offering. Offer food. You place any type of food you can find in your sacks or on the nearby plants, but none of them seem to make any difference. I try something else. Money. You put both your pouch and the coins on the altar, but nothing happens. What else do I have? Oh, blood. There we go. Good call. How much? Oh, man. Oh, boy. I clench my teeth and hurt myself quite a bit. Your blood spills on the altar and sinks into it before it gets to the edge. The tree greets your offering with the sound of moving, stretching branches. You try to ignore the pain and prepare water and bandages to take care of the wound. Huh. Okay. Well, I'm nearly dead. You step cautiously. Without knowing how deep it gets, you have to consider that a saurian could be camouflaged in the mud, waiting for a victim to get near. Since you don't plan to kneel down and drink, you're hoping to dodge the potential strike. Once you get closer, you start breathing again. While the water is dirty, it's also shallow. You see the vegetation, swimming insects, and even small fish. All of them stay away from the tree roots, which look like a spider web covering the bottom of the pond. Aside from that, you don't see anything that would catch your attention. You kneel in front of the one that's lying on the shore, a root that is. Neo, thank you for the 21 months. Welcome back, appreciate it. It's brown, covered with hair that resembles the fur on your arm. When you touch it, it's moist, soft, and warmer than you would expect. I do something with it. I pull it. The root doesn't resist your touch, and you can easily bend it. You hold it tightly, and your hands sink into it like it's a soft pillow. You feel its warmth. You start to pull, but with little to no effect, no matter how much strength you put into it. It's firmly held by something in the water, probably covered by the swamp's floor. Eat. The scent of decaying water is now especially repellent. You bite into the warm root and start chewing it, but with no results. It's flexible and stretchy, and you can't hurt it with something so blunt. I don't really have any tools to deal with this, do I? Oh, I do have an axe. Cut with axe. Either you can't do that or I don't understand you. Cut. You pull out your knife, then stop in place. You can't tell what the results of wounding the tree would be, but you doubt your ancestors would approve of it. I'm willing to find out. The cut is swift, but the nimble root is difficult to hold. It backs down into the water, pulled by the rest of the creature, leaving a trail of red bubbles and mud. The water quiets down a few minutes later. A chunk of the root is still in your fingers, so you move it into a jar from your bundles. Your hand is now covered with a red, sticky goo, smelling like rusty nails and sweet fruits mixed with beer. You reach for a water skin and wash your skin from the plant's juices. You don't see any creatures nor humans, all right. Cool. Well, that was interesting. Let's leave. I feel like I need to go back to the inn and stop myself from dying here. The guard ignores your arrival. As you ride in, the other hunters sitting at the table and on the stairs gossip with mugs of beer in their hands. You hear the sounds of work coming from the armorer's workshop. I get off my horse and enter the inn. Let's see. How do I sleep? I guess it is still pretty early. I just want to try to get some, oh, I should go to the well. Wash my shell in the well. There we go. There we go. Okay, now I can travel again. Let's go this way. The curvy road east is overgrown. Riazarus trots when it has a chance, but more often it walks, forced to jump over larger branches blocking its path. The nearby lake is surrounded by thirsty wildlife. A couple of stone slabs were turned into a hut-like shape. One of the ancient chapels raised by the priests of the United Church. in the days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. The dolmens proved to be especially durable, though the conditions they offered were harsh. The entrance is barely wide enough to let you walk inside. It was meant to keep larger beasts away, including your palfrey. You can't spend the night here. I approached the hourglass carved in the stone. It's the most common religious sign of the city folk, adapted by the United Church, Orders of Truth, and the majority of fellowships. It's used in temples and during the funeral rites, but also to decorate codices or jewelry. The winged hourglasses portray the ephemerality of life and the rigidity of time. When possible, they're made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind's determination and innovation. I feel disgusted seeing this cursed symbol. I should defile it. The sign brings back the torment of your ancestors, the days of death, rejection, and enslavement. It's not a testimony of verity or piety, but rather of control and ownership. This is our land, it tells you. You do not belong here. As you stare at the image, the fire inside you grows. I grab a rock and spend some time to cover the hourglass with scratches. Making a decent tool out of a rock would take a couple of hours, but you don't have to make cuts as deep as the original engraving. You spend maybe half an hour doing your best to profane the hourglass, but the outcome is humble. At least it will be clear to anyone who sees it that it was an intentional effort. You feel as if you fixed something, made it right. I throw the rock away and step away. Riazarus is playfully poking the nearby bushes with its nose, ready for the further journey. As I enter the chapel, the beams of light get through the gaps between the rocks, but you hardly see anything. A torch would fill the place with smoke, but a candle will suffice. You wonder how many travelers were sitting on the cold rock, observing the entrance and fighting with their heavy eyelids. I look around. What are you looking for or paying attention to? Carvings. Nothing. People. Nothing. Oddities. All right, I'll go outside. Truly making a difference as a Roadwarden, absolutely. The neglected path barely finds any space among all the hills, trees, and streams. There's a deer on the ground, lying in a red puddle, surrounded by a small pack of creatures which notice your presence quickly. There's about 8 of them, with thick furs and shades of brown, gray, and black, and hairless faces with small eyes and large mouths, currently stained by the blood of their prey. Some of them move on all fours, while others comfortably stand on 2 feet. There are 2 to 3 heads shorter than you, but it's your mount which truly towers over them, and you can see how a couple of the beasts take a few steps back, grunting and glancing at one another. The one with gray fur shouts, and the others move toward the rocks and sticks which are piled on the road. They hold them awkwardly, and some struggle to maintain a straight posture, leaning on their new weapons for support. Then, almost all of them spread to your left or right, blending with the shrubs loudly. Only 2 of the apes are standing still. I'm not prepared for a pack of goblins at all right now. I'm fucked, yeah. Riazarus is more than ready to do so. It hardly has enough space to make a swift turn, and the goblins try to stab it with a pointed stick, but it's too blunt or the hit is too weak to pierce through the skin. The shouting beasts behind you sound victorious, but they would never be able to catch up with the palfrey. They may spend the entire day feasting on such a large animal. I head back to the crossroads. The forest is uncannily quiet. Better look for a safe place to sleep. Let's head back to the inn. Sleep. Sleeping in a room will add to our health and our cleanliness. You get a large breakfast, a wash tub, and some cloves to wash your teeth. Terrific. You hear a thunderous roar. You rise to your feet and rub the sleep from your eyes. The doors are opening. People are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion. Something is on the other side of the wall, trying to get through, and the guards are fighting it off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. Thanks to their light, You can see the large furry paws placed on top of the wall walk. As far as you can tell, the beast is but a single leap away from getting inside. I need to help them. You look for your gambeson and blade, still a bit foggy in your thoughts. And once you find them, you struggle to get inside the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you holding a candle. "You're a guest. Stay here," he says without a shadow of hesitation. "My team has no time to worry about the outsiders." Just after his words, you hear a cheerful laughter from the wall. Judging by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons, the beast is fleeing. Well, I shouldn't expect people will need my help all the time. That's realistic. Well, all right then, cool. What a perfect way to wrap up. I could have bled on it or something, right? Yeah, no, I have the IRL equivalent of 1 HP, but please allow me to assist you in your struggle by struggling. This was great. I'm a big fan of this game. I highly recommend it. Big thanks to the team for sponsoring our look at it today. That is going to wrap it up for me, because my voice is shot now. That is a lot of reading for one stream. Oh, man. But do please, if this caught your interest at all, I strongly recommend you give it a look. Roadwarden. Available now on Steam. Use the !RW command if you're here joining us live on Twitch. It'll take you right to the page. You get the link down in the description if you're watching over on YouTube as well.